who have elected you into your position to represent them in their part of the world in steering policy, as opposed to seeing an excerpt from you in the newspaper after, asking a question about policy which you're not going to be able to change.
Well, we have to do all of those things, which is why I think the overview and scrutiny aspect of this is good, because it does allow us to have a much deeper involvement in scrutinising legislation before and after as well. I mean, what worries me about this is the speed at which we've been asked to make these changes. And at 9 o'clock yesterday, we got this document as group leaders. Would
you just like to drop that from a foot onto the desk?
Yeah.
You can hear, I guess, from that sound how weighty it is.
A couple of hours later, other council members got an email telling them these changes were taking place, and then a little bit after that, they got an email copy of this. Now, some of them are not going to see it until they actually open their emails, and others are not actually going to see it until they get to the chamber this morning when they pick up a copy of it from their pigeonholes. How are we meant to make important decisions about changes to our constitution with no notice whatsoever? If this were Parliament, there'd be a committee that would scrutinise these changes line by line, and they would take their time to make sure that we're not making catastrophic errors. This is not the way to make constitutional changes. There is no good reason why this is so urgent.
Well, Nick Clarke argues that this is the big meeting of the year. He's just going to be elected as leader. He's impatient. He wants to act, and he wants to act fast.
Because it's the first meeting of the year with a new leader, this is precisely the wrong meeting to make fundamental changes to the Constitution. You need to give time for the leader to bed in. He's only been leader a couple of days. He needs to take time with this, and he needs to consult members. And we've got the opportunity of the July meeting of the council, where we'll have more time. We can bring this back to that, having scrutinised it with a much better set of proposals. I see absolutely no reason why that's not possible. This is a very, very bad start to Nick Clarke's leadership. He said he wants to be a strong leader. Being a strong leader actually means being just and fair as well, and giving your opponents the opportunity to express what their concerns are, rather than railroading things through. So rather than being a strong leader, he's in danger of becoming an autocrat. And autocrats are out of fashion these days.
OK, both your party and the Lib Dems have criticised this decision, saying it's an undemocratic process, and sort of questioning the reduction of questions that you can ask. We just heard Nick Clarke there mention in an interview before that you can ask questions at any point during the year. So why is that a problem?
But why limit the number of opportunities for asking questions? What's wrong with asking questions? You may well have something that...
to make the meetings more efficient, to get your job done, so you can go off and be representing the people who elected you?
Well, this is our job. Our job is articulating concerns. Our job is asking questions. This is not a business. It's a democracy. You can't apply the same principles. Now, if you're serious about being more efficient, then he should be more efficient. He should be concerned about making more efficient the processes by which the legislation or the policies are implemented. I mean, for example, in my ward, I've got a cycle path which we spent £200,000 on, and frankly, it was a pretty poor job, frankly, and a lot of people have been concerned about the way it's been implemented. So that's the kind of thing we should be looking at making more efficient, not trying to squeeze and squash the opportunities for councillors to actually say the kind of things I would like to say about projects in my ward which have gone wrong.
Okay, so just very finally, can you stop this going ahead today? What's your position?
The remarkable thing is that apparently, changes to the Constitution can be made by a simple majority, and if you were to challenge this, the threshold is very, very high. I think you'd have to take it to the High Court, and then you'd have to demonstrate that what was being proposed was manifestly absurd. Now, that's a sort of legal term. Now, I think this is ridiculous, but I'm not sure I'd convince a High Court judge that it was manifestly absurd. But if Nick Clarke is serious about making the overview and scrutiny committees really work properly, then I hope that the overview and scrutiny committees will be calling this decision in effect, and scrutinising the way it was done, the process, and looking at ways we can safeguard the Constitution in the future from the whim of a single individual.
Tariq, thank you for joining us this morning. That's Tariq Siddique, who's the leader of the Labour group on Cambridgeshire County Council. It's 8:15.